Are you a foreign national living in the UK and you're either confused or you've lost hope on your chances of buying your first home here? Now, you wouldn't be the only one because I speak with clients all the time who feel like this after researching online, speaking with their bank, or speaking with other advisors. But I'm here to tell you that there should be options to get a mortgage. And at the very worst, there might just be a couple of things that you need to improve that will get you to the point where you can buy here in the UK. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 4 key areas that you need to consider to buy your first home in the UK and how these control your ability to buy here. So the 4 key areas we need to consider when we're looking at your ability to get a mortgage are income, deposit, residency status, and credit score. Now, when looking at the first key area, which is your income, we're really looking at 2 parts of this. So the first part is the actual income, so how much are you both earning, but also what is the structure of the income. So what type of contract are you on? Is it hourly pay? Is it an annual basic salary? How long have you been with your employer? The second part of this is your committed expenditure. So do you have any credit cards, loans, childcare commitments, dependents, etc.? So a mixture of this will build the amount that you can actually borrow. And this will really change depending on the person and all of those factors mentioned. Typically, you can get between 4.49 times and 4.75 times your household income as a mortgage. But as I've mentioned already, there are so many other factors to this. So to really get an accurate picture, you'd need to speak to an expert advisor. Now, when it comes to your deposit, there's a couple key areas to consider. So the first is the amount. Now, if you live in England or Wales, then you should be able to buy with a minimum of 5% deposit. There will be between 1 and 3 lenders that you could access depending on a few other factors. However, what you can do is you could use your 5% and you could go and speak with a new build developer who sometimes provide a 5% developer's incentive and use their 5%, bring those together, and that would make a 10% deposit. On top of that enabling you to buy a property in the UK, that would also help you to get better interest rates as well. So it would lower your monthly payments. When it comes to the third key area, which is residency status, there's a few parts we're considering here too. So this is, what type of visa are you on? Normally we're looking at skilled worker visas, health and social care visas, graduate visas, completely fine. Of course, if you're on a dependent or spousal visa of someone else, then this can be completely fine for most lenders as well. Now, a really important factor here, and probably the most important, is how long you've been in the UK. If you've been in the UK for less than 12 months, then there's really only one lending option, and that would allow you to buy with a 10% deposit. If you're looking to buy with a 5% deposit and you don't have any 5% developers incentives, as I've mentioned before in this video, then really you would need at least 12 months and ideally 18 to 24 months due to credit score and other factors as well. The final factor we're looking at when we're considering your residency status is how long is left on your visa. Typically, this isn't too much of a problem, though if you do have less than 12 months on your visa, then there will be a few extra requirements and considerations for the lender, of course. Now, the final key area is credit score, and this is a massive one. I always get asked, what score is the best score? However, different credit reference agencies have different scoring profiles, and even with lenders, they use different metrics, and it's not just the credit score that matters. Of course, if you've got a higher credit score rather than a lower credit score, it should mean that it will be easier to pass the lender's requirements. However, it's not just that one rule that matters. So we're looking at if you've had any late payments, missed payments, defaults, county court judgments, and things like that as well. And on top of it, the only real way that we can find out if you'll pass the lender's credit score is by trying, and that's through doing a pre-approval or an agreement in principle, also known as decision in principle and mortgage in principle. You get the point. There's a lot of names for it. Of course, if you're aiming to use a 5% deposit, you really typically will need a credit profile that is very clean and where you've built up your credit score considerably. And this can be one of the reasons why it's a bit easier once you've been here 18 to 24 months or even longer than that, of course, can definitely help because you'll have more of a built up credit profile. Now, I hope you enjoyed listening to the 4 key areas that decide what size of mortgage, what options you'll have, and whether you can actually get a mortgage or not. All of these areas come together, and we need to consider the income, the credit score, the residency status, and the deposit to decide on what the best options are and how much mortgage you can get. There's not one of these that's far more important than the other. It's just a combination of all of these come together, and this is what I look at and work on with my clients. Now, if you did enjoy this video, you can subscribe below because I'll be putting out weekly content aimed just for foreign nationals who want to buy their first home in the UK. On top of this, I'll be making a YouTube video that you will be so interested in. This is everything you need to know to buy your first home in the UK as a foreign national. This will be a long video that will explain in depth absolutely everything that you need to consider, and it will be a step-by-step process, so I'm sure it will be of interest to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.